Hey guys, let's get into this polygel set. It is a glow in the dark slash color block, which is my favorite thing to do. These are the products that I use. I like to mix different brands and colors. I don't stay with one kit. These are the shades before we get started. I'm using McCart's Peel Off Base Coat. I love the Peel Off Base Coat. It helps me to remove them fairly easy. I do believe I have a video on how I remove them, but I don't like to file down. Um, so we're gonna start out with the purple. I believe this was a neon purple, if I'm not mistaken. But this polygel is fairly firm. I'm actually loving more advanced polygel at the moment. It's not sticky at all. It's fairly easy to work with. For the most part, it stays where you put it. It do move a little bit on the nail bed, but for the most part, it's easy to work with. One thing with polygel and working around the cuticle area, you definitely want to make sure the cuticle stay clean. So constantly keep an eye out for the cuticle. Just dab in there and clean it out. So I didn't have anything in mind. I just kind of took the brush and started moving polygel in different little areas to see what it come out to be. Again, cleaning that cuticle, which you will see me do a lot throughout my videos. This pink it wasn't sticky neither. It wasn't as firm, but it wasn't sticky. Still very easy to use. I believe that was Your Sugars, I believe. I would have to go back and check. But yeah, so I'm just pushing the color up against the second color. Gel will stick to gel if it's cured or uncured. So just make sure your second color is pushed up against the second color or third color. Just make sure they all connected. This polygel is from iGel Beauty. Absolutely love this polygel. Definitely recommend it for beginners. It stays where you put it regardless of the temperature. You don't have to worry about it flooding the cuticles. It's a solid firm, but not too firm where you can't work with it. So I definitely recommend this brand. I'm just adding a little more. I didn't have any design in mind. Just kind of was going with the flow, making sure that it was connected to the next color. Now, although I'm going to file it, I like to still kind of see what I'm doing. So instead of me just taking that color and putting it over top of the second color, I just push it up to it and still keep it where so I can see what the design is going to be as I'm sculpting it out. I flash cured it, took the brush, kind of went around it. Being that it's slightly cured, you can still kind of mold it into what you need it to be. Now this blue, it was firm, easy to use, not sticky, but it definitely does stain. So I had to clean my brush a lot on this one with this shade. And it didn't cure as hard as the other colors. And so I do like the blue, definitely would use it again. I just wouldn't use it on the tip of the nail again. So I'm just making sure it's connected to another color, even though I did file that a little bit off, but I still wanted to make sure everything was connected. Let's see, we're just adding some more blue, kind of just playing with the poly gel, just kind of throw it on there and hopefully it come out something cute. That's why I like color blocking, because you don't have to have a set design in mind. As long as you just start putting them colors in there, patting them in there and place somewhere, create some straight lines, you get to go. So with this, okay, so I'm sorry guys, but for this one, I just used a tiny amount because I'm trying to work on my thin lines, trying to get like clean, crisp, very thin lines. So I just do a little bit in there just to get a little practice on that. Then we're gonna finish this nail off with the pink again. At this point, I'm kind of evening it out to create a nail. So we straightened off the tip, making sure it's connected to the previous colors. Smoothing it out so I don't have to do a lot of filing. Okay, my form moved a little bit, so I had to adjust that. This one, I think I just, okay, so again, this polygel was pretty firm and I was running out of time, so I couldn't really do a whole lot of color blocking. So we're just gonna go with an extended nail bed, come down to a point. I like to put all the polygel together. So after I squeeze it out, that little smear, I like to push it back because if I don't, it creates an air bubble down there. So I kind of put it together so that way I don't get that air bubble once I start filing. Just pulling it out from side to side, pulling it down some, flatten it thin around the cuticle area. That way I didn't have to do a whole lot when it came to filing, constantly cleaning the cuticle. You will see me do that a lot. Um, you know, with nails, each step works with the previous step. So if you're getting pop off and you know your prep is fine, make sure you don't have no product on or under the cuticles because it will pop off. So I constantly make sure my cuticle areas and down the sides are clean. Okay, so just pulling it down. This brush I'm using is a size 12, I believe. Yeah, it's a 12. It's not the 14. I love the size 12 and 14 brush, especially if I'm doing like a solid nail. I can move it a lot quicker than the standard brush that come in kits, which are like size 6. These brushes I get from AliExpress. So if anybody is interested, let me know. I'll share the link to these brushes. Only thing is they don't come with a top, which kind of sucks. But anyway, so okay, so we're just going to go in with a little purple on one side, a little pink on the other side. Just pushing it up to the other color, along also while trying to keep a shape. So I don't want to go wider than my sides. A little bit is fine because I can just file it off, but I try not to go too wide. That way I don't have to do too much work. And again, with the color block, you don't have to have a specific idea in mind. Just kind of move it with where you want to go and cure it, file it. There you go. Okay, just trying to make sure there's a wall build up. So that way the next color has something to sit up against. I really could have took some of this out of the video, but it's there now. This is my first video, guys, so I'm sure they'll get better over time. Just be patient and work with me. But yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and do the pink. Same process, pushing up against it, kind of wrapping it around the purple a little bit. I do use two brushes, my big brush and then a smaller, thicker brush, especially for firm polygels. They help me to create them little swoops and lines better. Now, again, with this blue, like I said, it doesn't cure as hard as I would like. And so, lesson learned, I would not use this blue. And I don't know if it's for all neon blues or if it was just this brand. But this one, it cured, but it did not cure as hard as I would like it to have. And so a tip for that, if your tip is not as strong and sturdy, you can, after you file, you can top coat the underside along with the top side, and that will give it a little extra strength to the tip. And we're just patting and smoothing it, making a nail out of it. Okay, so it was coming out more coughing, like, so I kind of widened up the tip so I can get a square nail. I can't scope cough the nails, and so I kind of build them out square and then file them in. Here I was a little undecided if I wanted to use the pink or the purple. My plan at this point was to like bling out the first and pinky finger, but the pinky finger for me, guys, is a struggle. Like my pinky, it don't stand on its own. And so anytime I put a brush to it, like my fingers start going down. And so the pinky nail be taking me a long time to get it right. And so, but we got it, we got it. Like the pinky is my least favorite nail to do, but we worked it out. Okay, just bring it over as wide as my side so I can get a square nail. Now with my pinky, I can scope out a pretty coffin with my pinky nail, just not the other fingers. And so I just go ahead and make a square nail and then file it from there. But just making sure my sides are straight aligned, bringing the bulk of the product down. Again, this one is a firmer polygel, so the constant pulling of the polygel was causing my form to dip a little bit. And so I had to readjust. But that was pretty much it with this pinky nail. Okay, same process pretty much with the pointer finger, same color. You can see how hard it was for me to get it out of the tube. So that is a fairly strong brand. Okay, so I pretty much just squeeze the bulk of it in the middle and then pull it back to my cuticle. I don't never, unless I'm doing my color blocking, I don't never squeeze my bead at the cuticle. I squeeze it pretty much in the middle of the nail and then work it back. That helps ensure that I get a thin cuticle. If I start up at the cuticle and bring it down, my cuticle be too thick and it requires a lot of filing. And I'm still learning the process of filing and shaping. And so I start in the middle, pull it back, flatten it out, clean around the cuticle, and then scope the nail or get the shape of the nail. So that was that. I'm sorry guys if y'all can hear my kids in the back. So I had an air bubble. Another thing, if you see air bubbles, pop them. So I popped the air bubble and then I'm just kind of pushing and pulling that polygel over top of that hole that I just made. I'm definitely pop it, because if you don't, if you just scope right over top of the bubble, by the time you start filing, that bubble will appear and you will be able to see it. Remove the forms. My nails are usually built up fairly thick. So a lot of times they do be uncured underneath. So just smooth it out, cure it, take some alcohol, clean the nails off. You want to clean the top of the nail. You also want to make sure you clean the underside of the nail because both of them are sticky. And also you want to clean down the side of the nail. So you want to clean that whole nail off with alcohol. If you don't, it'll feel like you just have an uncured nail. These files, I absolutely love them. They are so strong. Like these green ones, they do not bend. They get that shape in there real good with no problem. Don't take a lot of work to get that shape in there. I absolutely love these files. If you guys are interested in these files, I can also share the link to these, but these are my go-to for shaping. So at this point, I'm just doing a basic shape so I can get an idea of the nail. I do that on all of them. I like to file up and down instead of side to side. Up and down helps to get a straight side opposed to me doing it back and forth or side to side. Then these little thin wood files I get from AliExpress. I absolutely love these for getting in between the side of my nail or the side of my skin and the side of the nail. They are really good for getting down in those corners. And I would recommend these for if you don't like to use your e-file around your cuticle, you're not comfortable yet. Definitely get thin wood files because uh, they fit around it a lot better than thicker files. This is how I file my tip. I just put my thumb underneath, hold the nail, and just file the tip of it up and down. And this is just a general file. I will go back in and do the shape again after I remove the bulk. Be sure to file the underside up, making sure it is aligned with your side walls. If not, it will look like your nail is wide if you do not clean the sides up. So that's just what I'm doing here, lining everything up on both sides. It's not a whole lot to it, just filing it. Okay, and then after I do that, I like to start with a medium bit. Sometimes I'll go in with a coarse bit, but these bits here in the medium do just good. So I'm just removing the bulk. I'm also getting all the polygel smooth. So I'm making it one smooth nail. I'm just filing everything down. That way I'm not feeling no lumps or dips. And that's my process here. And I'll do that on all the nails, remove the thickness off of them, because as I said, I tend to file my nails. I tend to build my nails very thick and file it down. But I must say, the filing part is my favorite part in doing the nails. I like to see the outcome of the nail. And so I put a lot of attention and focus into my filing. And you can see though, this bit is just cutting right through it. And another thing, if you're a beginner, I definitely recommend getting ceramic bits. They have safety ones and tapered ones and different ones, but definitely start out with a ceramic bit if you're just starting out. They cut through the polygel with no problem. They also don't heat up on the nail plate, so you don't have to worry about it burning or feeling that heat. But these are my favorite bits. I get these from AliExpress also. This fine bit is my absolutely favorite. It like cuts through everything with no issue. I really could skip out on using the blue one and just start right with the fine. But this the fine bit, I love this one because it removes the product, but it removes smaller chunks of the product. And so the lines when I do my color block come out so much crisp than they do with the blue one. And so we're just cleaning it up. We're going to do that on all the nails. Just making sure I can see the lines clearly throughout all of the color blocking. After that, I like to take a hand file, start around the cuticle area in like a circular or half moon direction, going up the nail, down the nail, and I'll do that on both sides. Whatever I do on one side of the nail, I'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're just trying to take some of that hard square from the initial filing off, kind of tapering it down a little bit. So here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a shiny spot, a light spot, a spot that the file have not filed. If you see that in your nail, that means that the file have not touched it and it's a dip or a lump somewhere, something is not even. And so if you see those spots, keep filing until the whole nail is chalky, like until you can see scratch marks over the whole entire nail. If not, that dip will show through your top coat. Okay, just clean up the tip a little bit more. I do file in my sink. That way I can just wash it down when I'm finished. This is a 5-in-1 extra fine bit. I like these for going around my cuticles. They can cut if you're not constantly moving or you're too close on the cuticle, but I love these for going around the cuticles, sealing the cuticles up, removing any extra product or ledges, giving it that little tapered down look into the cuticle. So this is my go-to bit for that. You can kind of see how clean it comes out after going around it with a few passes. And whatever I do on one nail, I do on the other. I don't have a set filing routine. If I'm doing something on one nail and I just happen to see something sticking out on another nail, then I'll jump to that and then I'll jump back to what I was doing. So I don't file one nail perfectly and then go to the next nail. I just kind of jump all over the place. Okay, this is just doing my final little cleanup on the shaping, filing up and down to make sure my shape is nice and crisp. And I'll do that on all the nails, clean up the tip. My filing is done. So I did wash my hands and stuff. That little bling box, I made it AliExpress. I like to buy my rhinestones and just put them in those little cases. Okay, so I like to take protein bond after I file, wash my hands. I like to take the protein bond and go around the cuticle. It helps the top coat to stick very well around the cuticle area. Now this is Venelisa's top coat, which is my favorite top coat. This was a brand new bottle. It was like extremely full, so too much I'm sorry. Too much top coat was coming out, and so I did wind up changing it. Here I'm just wiping down the sides, so there's still top coat on the sides, just not as thick, where so it's changing my shape. And so again, I did switch to my old bottle of Venelisa, which wasn't as full, so too much top coat wasn't coming out when I was smoothing it. With top coat, I like to top coat the whole nail, cuticle, down the middle, down the sides. Make sure everything have top coat on it, especially if you're polishing. Didn't have anything in mind. I just kind of started throwing them on this finger. Just kind of bring all the colors together. So I just use like some blue, pinks, and purple rhinestones for here. Just moving them around a little bit, trying to give them a cute little something. And then we'll cure the nail for a full 60 seconds. I do each nail individually, so even though one nail got 30 seconds, by the time I get to the second nail, that first nail had gotten 60 seconds of cure. But here's the finished look. They did glow in the dark, which was very pretty. Anybody who's used glow or seen glow, you know that glow is like so cool to look at nighttime. And so here's the finished product.